Thank you so much, ma'am, for presenting this presentation. And I think we know a lot of things about this because we know the reasons behind it, but not get actual things, what the reasons going on. So after that, I think we have to start up with a panel discussion with on this topic. Ma'am has already shown the things a lot of. So now I ask from the Raminda ma'am. So ma'am, what do you think about this? Ma'am, please unmute. Raminda ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Please repeat your question, Abhi. It was not
Okay.
audible.
Ma'am, I'm just saying that ma'am has shown the PPT and we
Yeah.
everyone knows the reasons behind it. So what are your views on this?
See, according to me, like when we talk about institution of marriage, first ask yourself, are you prepared for it? Are you doing marriage for the willingness of society or inclination of yours heart? People become 26, 27, and society is putting pressure on both genders, male and female. Get married. And people get married in hurry. People get married because society is questioning them. You go to the marriages, you go to any public function, the young blood is suffering a lot because of fear of the families, relatives, and all. They all think that marriage is the end goal of a person who is 26 or 25. So before entering into the marriage, we should know what are the reasons behind the crippled marriages or failed marriages. So if you are not willing, if you are not mentally prepared, then how come you can enter into this pious institution? First, parents should talk about it. Before entering into it, before parents should have a communication with their kids. They should talk to their children. Are they mentally prepared first? Are they are physically prepared? Are they are ready to accept the changes after the marriage? Are they financially prepared? Or we are just throwing into them to the marriage because they are 24, 25? Marriage should not be the last destination. And according to me, a person should be in marriage if that person's dignity is maintained, if that person's self-respect is maintained. Never kill your soul in crippled marriage. Live for yourself. Society will think about me because I'm alone. Society will think about me because I am divorcee. Society will question me because I'm having kids. How will I survive in this selfish society? Nobody will come to help you. Nobody will help you financially. You know, marriage is a continuous and constant dance of communication, commitment, and compromise. And this is not a compromise of one person. This compromise should be done by both the parties. Both counterparts should put energy and soul to the marriage. One partner is cheating on you, and second is tolerating for years and years. Life is screwed up, and that person is suffocated in the marriage. That person cannot think. They are married. There are many people in the society, especially in Indian society. Females are having only end goal that my male should be loyal to me. Male should be also having same feeling that my partner should be loyal to me. But still people cheat. Everybody is not same. So what to do? Okay, because of sake of society, we start killing our desires. We should not go out of it. We should have a like handicapped body, which is called marriage. I don't approve of it. If a person is not giving you liberty, that person is poking nose in each and every affair of yours, you shouldn't allow. You should make a line. You should make a boundary up to which point a person should interfere. I have seen many people, those who are those who are married for 18 years, 20 years, 30 years, but still unhappy. So what is the purpose of the marriage? Love yourself, then love others. So
Yes, ma'am.
if
Yes, ma'am.
if
Bilkul
you're
correct.
so
You are
if
saying
you're
correctly.
right? If your soul is not happy, how can you
Yes.
make your children happy? How can you grow professionally? You are inside unhappy. How can you give your 100% in your profession? Like, damage is already done when your partner is not loyal to you. Damage is already done. That person is interfering in your decision. Both partners should be given a right to have financial decision also and every decision. But if a person is not getting, so don't live for society, live for yourself, liberate yourself, live life for yourself. uh, what I want to say at the end, that free yourself from the clutches of bad married life, grow professionally. After this also, you can have your wings to fly. Somebody is exploiting you and you're allowing. Only last thing I want to say, the person who exploits other is a sinner, but the person who allows this injustice happening to is the more sinner than that person. So don't do this sin. Liberate yourself, make yourself happy, either in the marriage or out of the marriage. Both way, a person should be happy. So at the end, individuality matters. At the end, identity matters. Ask yourself that are you happy in that marriage, or you will die in this unhappy marriage. I remember a poem of Aunt Jennifer's Tigers when we were teaching in 12th class. So they were telling that Aunt Jennifer's band, Aunt Jennifer's engagement ring are the symbols of that patriarchal society. So same with the male also. If somebody is exploiting you, harassing you, and not allowing you to grow mentally, physically, professionally, leave this, have life for yourself, and enjoy life. I think all will agree, and thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, yes, surely, ma'am. That is. Okay, my question from the Chaya ma'am. So, ma'am, you have already worked on the women's health in Hyderabad. So, have you seen any things that after the marriages are falling? So, have you seen some issues that how it affect on the health of the person, either is a man or the women?
Yeah. Namaste, India. Good morning to everybody. I worked on women scientists. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was working on scientists, there is a lot of gender discrimination. Not only in sciences, but wherever you go throughout the world. That's what I gained the experience out of my own empirical and ethnographic study. So particularly on the women scientists, as you have asked me, when it is coming to the marriage life and work-life balance, from the intermediate level, when they are opting for the sciences, it is always a hurdle for them to stay back for long hours for their studies, career, or experiments, or any research work. That first of all, that staying away from home and the family for long hours in the labs or libraries or in education pursuits is a hurdle, is always a hurdle for a woman to take up science. That was the first issue. And the second is the women scientists as such. There are so many women scientists throughout the world. But people, when we question them, the students, the professionals, wherever we have taken the interviews, none of them can mention a scientist, woman scientist. So when I took a statistical bar, it is 98% men scientists are seen there. Only 2% of the women names like Kalpana Chawla or Marie Curie or some few names are heard. So that is what the woman scientist, or maybe the woman is unheard. She is discriminated, submissive, suppressive for long generations and years. And coming to the marriage itself, most of the Indian girls get married at a very young age, maybe at the adolescent age or before that. So according to my knowledge, when it comes to the health issues, when a girl is most educated, she has her own choice to make a choice of reproductive system or, making a choice of having the children at what age, at what time. But this choice is not given for the girls or the women in India. Most of the time, because of our patriarchal implications, everything is controlled by the men. Or men like women like mother-in-law, or somebody like sister-in-law or brother-in-law, or somebody has to decide it in a joint family. Most of the rural India, or maybe in urban places also, we do have the joint families. So this is what is happening. When you are in an independent family, the girls do get married, but nobody knows what the marriage is, what the link between the man and the woman is, exactly what the body parts are. Are they prepared mentally? Are they matured enough to understand what the physicality or the technicality of the marriage is, of two people coming into a relationship? So all these factors get involved. And particularly when it comes to the marriage, that preparedness is, I can tell you, it is not even 1% in our society. Because either the parents or the teachers or our books or the religious texts, even the religious texts give us in Sanskrit or slokas where nobody can understand it. So this is a subtleties where we need to understand and probe into it when the concept of marriage comes in. So what I feel personally is, when I did my research in women health, particularly in the reproductive system, in reproduction health, when I approached adolescent girls and boys together, when I spoke to them, there are so many things, revelations there. It was shocking to know. Most of the time, the textbooks are just kept, those pages are just turned away because of shame, because of, abusive feeling. Most of the class students, boys, yell and shout and do lots of too many things to avoid the situation. Even teachers don't take that issue into the class to that extent to make them understand what it is, exactly what the physical changes are, what is adolescent phase, how to get into the safe sex, or maybe the first time when they are exposed to the premature sex, what are the precautions? Nothing. So nobody talks about it, and whatever they gain the knowledge from outside, it may not be authentic to them and maybe a wrong implications to them. And that's how the problem starts, from the issue of sexual debuts, where it is seen as taboo, but everybody are into it. Everybody has to experience it. So why don't we talk to each other as parents, as teachers, as a society and friends, and make it so common that all the parts of the body are related with something in totality for our well-being. So sex itself, like marriage, gives the license or the authenticity for sex, they call it, but it's not so. Previously, it was marriages between the families.
Okay, ma'am, I continue with.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. I continue with the same thing as with the Bhavneet, ma'am. As ma'am told me that in the schools, the books, people have, teachers are not even able to talk on the topics when they are teaching these things. So have you ever faced this problem when you were in as a principal in the school?
I didn't get you. Can you just repeat it?
Yes, Bhavneet, ma'am.
Yes, I did face such problems, and it sometimes reached to such an extent that boys, basically who are just in 10th or 11th standard, they come to ask you questions which are really, you are not able to answer them. Why? Because it's mostly on sex, condoms, and all such stuff. So like, you try to answer, give them some answers, but they reach to such a point that you feel like, now what to answer to this boy, and then call their parents, talk to them that please help him at home. Here we can tell that's not an issue, but it's all going in a wrong sense. So yes, we do face such problems in school. More than that, like, there are issues with girls also, but mainly with boys. Yes.
Yeah.
Please, right.
Can I just continue on this, ma'am? Yeah. It is for the sake of our research work. I've been to the schools and colleges, well prepared, gave an orientation class, and then asked them multiple questions. And then this students started answering them. And the question and answer session went on for 3 hours. And we were surprised to know that children are so curious, and there is a lot of mess and chaos in their mind. that purity of virginity, they don't understand what a virgin is. And that the purity of mind is so simple and they are so fragile that they keep on asking questions. Ma'am, I said there is an attraction between the man and the woman. So the simple 6th class girl, she got up and she asked me, why not a brother and sister? Are they not attracted with each other? That was excellent and marvelous to listen. But to make them understand the genetic order, I have to go through so much to understand what the genes is. Why shouldn't the siblings get together? Why is the sex taboo between the daughter, mother, to say father and the daughter, or maybe the brother and sisters? So there is a completely a pathological history about it to make them understand what genetically, how the genes work out and why it is. Like most of the time, the kids, I made them understand. Hello, are you able to listen? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
ma'am, please continue.
are you able to hear me, ma'am?
We are able to hear you, ma'am.
Okay. So, making them understand, we have gone to the references of the work has been done since 60 to 70 years. Why these particular, the same family sex or the same family genes come together and they produce the children who just die, get aborted, or maybe miscarriages, or maybe if they are born, they are crippled. So I have to explain so many reasons for it. So this kind of a 6th class girl asking such a question, that means so much is going in their minds and there is nobody to clarify their doubts. And our school texts and the teachers are so much restricted and, tunnel viewed, like this is the subject and this is what we are going to teach. And the paper and the pen.
Ma'am, that is
So
the thing.
we need to be friendly. Education should be friendly, oriented, or need-based education. We must get prepared to answer them at any time for any question.
Okay, Prerna ma'am, my question is from you that you are working in many companies. So do you think कि एक लड़का और एक लड़की दोनों जॉब वहीं पे कर रहे हैं तो उनकी मैरिजेस भी फॉल डाउन हो जाती है उस रीजंस की वजह से?
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Prerna. You're able to hear me, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So we had a lot of, important insights from Bhavneet ma'am, from, other panel speakers. So to answer your question, yes, I would personally say, actually, this comes from my experience. Of course, everybody is, talking from their experience. It's always good. It's always preferred, I think, not to have spouse working in the same place. Why I say this, I will stick to the question. At this moment, I will only answer the question that you have raised. Why this is because, each one of us, we need our space, okay, as an individual. It's not to talk about, a specific gender, not about a male or a female, but each one needs, their own space, their own breathing space. That's the basic requirement. You cannot suffocate a person, or say you cannot, you cannot always, sometimes, too much of closeness and too much of, staying together leads to conflicts, leads to bitterness, as what they say, right? Familiarity breeds contempt. So what happens is, see, however you are spending long hours at home together, you are just doing everything together, and sometimes you really don't have a... Okay, can I go ahead?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so sometimes, you are anyway all the time together is what I'm saying. So, you already have too much of your spouse. Now, even at the workplace, if you have your spouse around, believe me, you don't feel free. You don't feel, confident. You are always kind of, under the radar. You will always feel that somebody is keeping a watch on you. You are not original. You are always trying to be, something else, or say you are always trying to be someone who your partner wants to see. So I believe, it is very important to have space in a relationship, whether you are at home or you are in office. That's very important for a long-term, healthy relationship. You also need a lot of freshness in the relationship. You should not start feeling choked and suffocated that this person is always and always around me, right? So and in fact, that is basic human need, I would say. It's not only about the spouse or the partner. If you have too much of anything or too much of anyone around you all the time, you start feeling suffocated. So that would be my take, that, at home, you really don't have a choice. Of course, I mean, you can always make your choices. You can always keep things straight. You can always have healthy discussion about what your hobbies are, or, why you need a personal individual space. That also helps you to remain an individual. That also helps you to continue your individual identity, and you don't always or only remain constrained and limited to somebody's wife or somebody's husband. You also have to keep reminding yourself that you are an individual. You have your own choices, you have your own work, you have your own hobbies, you have your own likings, you have your own set of friends. And given the time that we are in, I think we are matured enough, the generation that we are in, and we are progressive. We are looking at the brighter side of things. So we have to have this space. And okay, now you take a situation, say you take a hypothetical situation that your spouse is also in office working with you. You definitely have to make sure that you keep your professional and personal lives separate. In office also, if you start behaving like the typical spouse that you are, you will start hurting the relationship personally as well as professionally. It's going to backfire, and you end up, either of you end up, leaving, quitting, and then it ruins your marriage. It really backfires in a big way. So that would be my answer to your question.
Is there any way so that we can handle it? So that means the spouse will have working and they have the good management. So how they can handle these things? If someone is coming that your wife is talking with someone else and this is it. So how they can handle these things?
Yes. So see, I mean, to begin with, you have to have a very broad mind setup. Okay, when your spouse is working, whether she or he, whether it is he or she, whatever, like insecurity can happen from either of the sides. I can be insecure about my spouse, or my spouse can be insecure about me. So, when you have taken that step, when you have gone outside your house and when you are working, a set of expectations, have to be called aloud. You have to have very open and frank discussions at home. There are people who don't speak up. They are introvert. There are people who are introvert and they don't always speak up. But yes, when you are into a relationship for long, you really figure out ways as to, how you can communicate. Right. So all I am trying to say, the point that I am trying to make is you have to be very, very vocal about the way you will carry yourself. And you also have to stick to what you have spoken. Like if I go out, if I've been working for 15 years now, and if I have my hobbies, if I have my network, I really cannot limit myself to, speaking to only women. Right. So the male members in my family, be it my spouse or my brother or my father or my father-in-law, they will have to take it in the right spirit that, when I go out, I cannot keep myself limited to, communicating with women. So what I'm saying is, they have to trust me. And in return, I do have to keep up to that trust. I am not breaking certain boundaries. I am definitely not breaking certain boundaries, but I am keeping myself very clear. If my work demands me, somebody mentioned, I think, Bhavneet ma'am or somebody mentioned on the call that, if my work, demands me to stay back late, I come back and I feel judged by the members of my family that where were you and what were you doing so late? Why is that the other neighbor, your friend or your neighbor who's staying next door comes home early and you don't? I have seen friends, having this kind of experience. I have a friend who's a fashion designer and she's always on travel, right? She's always on travel. She's always on exhibitions. So whenever she used to come back home, she is always, it's not only about in-laws. Let me make it very clear. Sometimes our own parents, our own moms, I go through that, at this age, at this phase of my life, even my mom questions me. If I'm sometime late, she will ask me, okay, she doesn't have any intention to judge me, but then she asks me, why were you late? So what I'm trying to tell you is we have to set the expectations right, and we have to explain what it is, So we have to have very clear communication as to what I'm doing, where I'm going, what I will do, what I cannot do, what I can, as per your expectations, what I can keep up to and what I cannot keep up to. Let's have very clear communication and let both the parties accept the way you are and, respect your profession.
Yes.
That would be my take. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. बिल्कुल correct से. Now ask from Jagjit sir. सर पहले क्या होता था कि शादी से पहले कोई फोन पे बात नहीं करता था, कुछ नहीं होती थी, तो सीक्रेट्स वगैरह सब अंदर रहते थे. आजकल तो फोन पे पहले ही बात हो जाती है, सब लोग पहले ही बात कर लेते हैं, हर चीज शेयर हो जाती है. सो व्हाट इफ सम सीक्रेट्स स्टिल आफ्टर कमिंग अबाउट द मैरिज? सो हाउ वी कैन मैनेज दीज थिंग्स? सर, आर यू हियर?
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Can you repeat the question?
Yes, sure, sir. सर पहले क्या होता था, मैं अगर आपकी जनरेशन में आ जाऊं, एक थोड़ी से पीछे चलते हम, थोड़ा आज से 10-15 साल पहले, तो पहले कभी शादी से पहले कोई फोन पे बात नहीं करता था. पर आजकल तो शादी जैसे एंगेजमेंट हुई, सबका शुरू हो जाता है एंड सीक्रेट धीरे धीरे रिवील होने स्टार्ट हो जाते हैं. बट माय क्वेश्चन इज नॉट इफ सम सीक्रेट्स क्रॉप आफ्टर द मैरिज, so how we can handle these things? कि हमें मैरिज बचानी चाहिए या उसको खत्म ही कर देना चाहिए?
According to me, my experience says it is better to finish the marriage instead of, everyday fighting, everyday bickering. This is not a good sign. And who suffers maximum is the children. That's why I say children are never bad, parents are bad. Why parents become bad? Because of this infight every day, because of the in-laws, because of the parents, because of the nagging by wife and husband each other in front of the children. So these are big problems. So better instead of continuing with such marriage, I feel it should be called off. This is my experience. Now, I don't know whether it's my turn. I wanted to tell you a very interesting incident.
Yes, sir.
Am I
Yes,
permitted?
sir. Yes, sir.
I was posted as CEO in Singapore after my retirement from the army. So one lady came to me for a job. And after seeing her biodata, it was very attractive. So I said, at the moment I don't have, but I'll definitely consider whenever there's a vacancy. So thank you very much. But she continued sitting. You'll be surprised, continued sitting. And suddenly she started crying. I said, what happened to you? She said, I want to share something with you. I said, okay. We had no relation. We never knew each other. First time we were knowing, she was also an Indian from Karnataka. I was from Hyderabad and posted there in Singapore. So I asked her, what's the problem? She said that my in-laws took 2 lakh rupees from my parents underhand without my knowledge. Now I have come to know. So what should I do? I am really feeling like divorcing my husband and all that. So I thought for a second, can I ask the audience what their advice is? But, I would like to share with you. I just told her, were your husband knowing about this fact? She said, no, he didn't know. So then I said, better continue your marriage relations and try to pinch that 2 lakh rupees and return back to your parents. Am I still there? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
You return that. So she was so happy. She's created a relationship with me, and till today, she's like my daughter, and she respects me a lot. She has come back from there, Singapore. She went to America, and from there she came back. And after 10 years, she contacted me, and she's so happy. Had I given her some wrong advice, I think the marriage would have been ruined. So I want to ask the panelists and the other participants, what do you feel? Was it a good advice or a bad advice? But I have saved the marriage. Thank you.
From my side, I would say that it was a good advice, because if the husband do not know about these things, so that is the very bad thing. If he knows each and everything and still it's going on, that is the important. That is the responsibility of his parents, that they tell him that we are taking this money from your wife, parents. So he told to them that it is a bad thing, so you can't take it. So that is the thing. So from my side, it is you give the very best suggestion to her.
So there are a lot of marriages which can be saved like this. And one thing, just now, Mrs. Chatterjee or Mrs. Bhattacharya was saying, I have summed up one point. It is the lack of communication. Everywhere, lack of communication. If there's a proper communication between the husband and wife, no marriage can break. How many people will agree? I don't know. It's up to you.
We always agree, sir. We all agree with this thing.
Thank you.
Okay, Manmeet ma'am, my question is from you. That मैं एक चीज को बड़े अच्छे से बोलूंगा कि हर कई क्या कहते हैं कि लड़का पिसता है शादी के बीच में, कि वो इधर से मदर की सुने या वाइफ की सुने. लड़ाई होती है, बेचारा घर आता है काम से, इधर से मदर पकड़ती है, इधर से वाइफ पकड़ती है. So how can he balance between mother-in-law, his mother and his wife? I think that Deep sir will agree with this question, that it is a very.
This is a very pertinent question.
He's laughing is he knows that I'm in a joint family and so he, and there are a great number of jokes of men being caught between the woman who has raised him and the woman who he just married. It's like a atta ki chakki pissing and pissing and pissing, you can say. The first woman whom the man comes in contact with, he worships her, he grows up, and suddenly he is married. And she feels like, oh, what's this now? I've given away my son to this woman. But, if she has nurtured him in such a way where she has put little prick in the nurturing and a commendable parenting technique, then the man will surely be the best person who can handle both his wife as well as the mother. And how is it? He has to start before marriage. He should know each and every little bit about his wife, her interests, her workplace, her friends, and same thing, he should share everything with her, so that, as we just discussed, that there should not be any secrets, there should not be any skeletons in the cupboard which can come out at a later stage. So in one way, it will help to have a very healthy relationship. Then, continuing the traditions of hugging his mother before going to work, yes, that's very important. By this time, it would be like my son, like they'll be going to, bye mama, love you, take care, and all sorts of stuff. And suddenly after marriage, he's doing to his wife. And I'm like, yaar, ye to jealousy thing should not arise, So hugging the mother, taking care of her, talking to her, and sometimes when wife has gone out with her friends or something like that, mama, let's party today, mom. But not speaking anything about the wife. That is very much important. And also involving mother in wife's comfortable zone that, okay, now she's coming into our life. She'll be a part of our family. Let us think what all we can do to make her life comfortable. It will create wonders, you know. Be aware of the kitchen. Kitchen is a common war ground which needs to be worked out. माँ बोलेगी ये करना है, बीवी बोलेगी वो करना है, और बेचारा पति सोचेगा हाय अब मैं क्या करूं इन दोनों के बीच में. So if mother likes cooking something for you today, let her cook. We eat two vegetables sometimes, don't we? So it can happen that yes, either the mother or the wife, whoever, but both can cook for you, and one you can have dish in the morning and the other dish in the evening. But mind well, Abhimanyu, if you tell mama, बीवी के सामने हाँ क्या बनाया है आपके जैसा तो कोई बना ही नहीं सकता, बीवी को बोल दिया वाह यार तूने आज क्या बनाया है, तुम्हारी तो हो गई छुट्टी फिर. But praise both of them or any one of them in front of the other. Do it later. You can give a flower, you can give a chocolate, you can give anything you like, but not in front of each other. That would be the best way to balance it. I think Brigadier Sir agrees with this.
No.
And
Pavneet, I've got a very important question. Please don't misunderstand me. In such a relationship,
not at all.
where there's a tug of war between the wife and the mother, and it's going on, who is that? Who is that? According to me,
Who is?
you tell me now. Who is that? According to me, according to natural formula, mother-in-laws are bad. Daughter-in-laws are never bad. You know why? The flow is from top to bottom. Do you agree? Now you said that they should be given a proper parenting to their son and everything. But all these things psychologically, no mother can tolerate if, you know, this imbalancing or something is done. Particularly anything which, you know, suppose the son goes more towards his wife, no mother will like it. And same, never bad. You know why? The flow is from top to bottom. Do you agree? Now you said that they should be given a proper parenting to their son and everything. But all these things psychologically, no mother can tolerate if, you know, this imbalancing or something is done. Particularly anything which, you know, suppose the son goes more towards his wife, no mother will like it. And same way the vice versa. So this is one conclusion I have made in my life at the age of 81, that mother-in-laws are bad.
No, sir, we don't agree with that. We are young mother-in-laws here. We always entertain them, and we are so close and happy with all our daughter-in-laws or son-in-laws. Because I got my son married recently, and I got married my daughter 7 years ago. So I have a very cordial relationship with both the families, both the individuals. So in that way, please don't blame my mother-in-laws.
May your tribe increase, ma'am.
Yeah.
Today's
May your tribe increase.
Okay.
So, Chaya Devi, we are talking
Yes.
of a joint family, not
Okay.
of a, you know, you are not staying with your daughter-in-law. When you are staying together in an
Yeah.
extended family, then
Okay.
I am saying that this is the situation which comes, because it is very difficult to create a balancing act between the wife and the mother. Do
Okay.
you agree?
Okay. And I'm born and brought up in a joint family of 35 members. Till 18 years, I was in a joint family with all aunts, uncles, grandparents, and not without my parents, my own parents. So I know what the relationships are, how they used to balance with each other, and they used to listen to the boss of the family. It can be an uncle or it can be aunt sometimes. So only thing, mindset. The way we take the things matters a lot, sir. That's what I feel. You may say it as white. Yes, exactly. It's white and black mixed gray sometimes, right? So this kind of perception and understanding of flexibility is required in a person. Flexibility, I mean to say the relaxation between something like rigidity and assertiveness. You need to find a way between the both. So,
Okay, ma'am,
balancing.
I can take these parameters also. If I'm getting married, so I can take these parameters also. that I have
Yes.
to check out these things.
Obviously, 100% you need to check out which family they belong to, what is the attitude of the person, friend circle which they move. If you are finding a girl, you should know the girl's friends from the school. School background also counts here. And then coming to the intermediate level, graduation level, and whether she is brought up in a hostel or with the family, or was it an individual nuclear family or a joint family, all these counts, and it reduces the pressure in your pressure, or maybe the friction in your family. I mean to say both husband and wife. That matters a lot.
Okay.
We can't call it a
Okay, ma'am.
parameter, but we can always say as priorities or criteria of selecting a boy or a girl. Yeah.
That means there is no criteria, no parameter before you have to check it, these type of things.
Now,
Okay. Okay, my
We need to.
Abhimanyu, we are trying to find
Yes,
solution
sir.
to all these problems. Now, I'd like to
Yes.
share two things with you.
Yeah.
You know, I went to South America.
Yes, sir.
There, my host told me very clearly, he was a white man. You can't call it British, but he was a white man settled in South Africa. And he told me the moment their daughter goes to the age of 16 and she doesn't find a friend, they get worried. It's a matter of worry. But one thing good about them is that the moment girl finds somebody as a friend or as a future husband, so they start a tradition that boy will come and stay with her parents and the girl will stay with his parents every weekend. So this continues till the marriage takes place. This is another thing which they have tried in South Africa in those white people. Then I'll give you another example. I met one couple from Hyderabad when I was at Kasauli. They met me by chance. So they introduced me with one girl. They said, she's going to be our daughter-in-law. And how come she's with you? They said, this is our tradition that we keep that girl who is going to be our daughter-in-law for 6 months to understand the chemistry between the mother-in-law and the future mother-in-law and daughter.
Nice idea.
So these are some of the experiments have been done.
Good idea.
Yes, sir.
Most of the cultures they do entertain and they do encourage such things to maintain a cordial relationship. Yeah.
Okay. My one question is from Raminder ma'am now. Is it necessary to continue a marriage which is crippled? What we can do for this?
I already talked about this thing, that it is not necessary to carry the crippled marriage. When something is crippled, it cannot work. Either a human being or a marriage, right? So dragging on, lingering on the things for years and years, it is not mandatory. Have space for yourself. If you feel like that you are not getting freedom to explore your passion, sometimes one partner is very egoistic and that partner is not allowing other person's talent to come outside. So what you will do? You will curb your talent and you will keep on with your dead body and dead passions, dead emotions forever. You will not want to explore the whole world. Sky is the limit for everyone. So why for the one partner? So if somebody is not giving you wings to fly, if somebody is not giving you emotional stability, somebody is doing bad things to you, like abusive language or abusive relationship, so you will go on forever. So I am against it. If you feel that you are in a crippled marriage, leave it. Live for yourself. Have your passion groomed. Groom yourself. You can write a book. You can grow professionally. You can see, living the marriage life is a taboo in Indian society. People don't look up to the failed marriages, but times are changing. You have to change with the times. It doesn't mean that you have to go in this failed and crippled marriage forever and ever forever. Come out of it and live your life. I
Okay,
think
okay, thank
all will agree with it.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. Okay, now I just want one conclusion from every of the panelists. So what is your conclusion about all these things? So I start with the Jagdish sir. Sir, what is your conclusion for this topic today? Jasgeet sir.
One, of course, the most important thing is we have to change. Change in the sense, this institution of marriage was evolved over a period, as Mrs. Dr. Chaya Devi has told. So again, this evolution should not be stopped. It should be further. There may be certain good practices, as I have told you, about knowing the family each other or knowing the girl each other. That is very, very important before the marriage. And secondly, our culture has to change. Like we say, that it is not the marriage of the boy and the girl, it is the marriage of the two families. But this is what has been stopped in Europe. In America, I don't know, but Europe I have seen it is completely stopped. They don't bother, they don't worry, and they lead their own life. And even parents don't interfere. Even if they happen to go and meet their parents, they just meet for some time and come back. So no personal interference there. In our culture, one thing which has to stop is the interference between the married couple. That is very, very important. But here, our emotions are so deep that we are always worried. If you have married your son and daughter, then always you are worried, "Arey bachcha nahi hua, arey bachcha nahi hua." या इनका मकान नहीं बना या इनको इसकी नौकरी चली गई. So all these worries are continuing with the parents. So that again harms. Let the boy and girl, once they get married, they should be considered as mature enough to fend for themselves and have their own family. Any other comments and suggestions you can have?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for this conclusion. Okay, Bhamini, ma'am, what will you say? What are your wordings for this?
Yes, Beta, thank you. I come to some solutions for a marriage to be a win-win one. First is calm yourself. If necessary, if any such topic has arisen which can have a lot of problems, just keep calm. Revisit that problem. Yes, it can help a lot because right now you are angry. You want to take out your frustration on your husband. So just keep calm. Later on, visit the subject with a bit cooler mood, with a lighter way. Yes. Then get curious about what is driving the emotion behind a desire of need. It is impossible to reach an outcome that makes both partners happy without understanding and truly listening. It's very important to listen before we speak. And best one I love is not to have a me thing. Marriage is not me, marriage is we. Let the relationship be we, not me. So when it becomes we, all other things just go away, they disappear, they vanish. So that we thing in a marriage should always be there from day one till they are alive. Once we remove this selfishness, this we call it home in Punjabi. वो हमें जब निकल जाती है ना तो सब कुछ सही हो जाता है. The transparency, the honesty, the commitment, all things come up when that we is there. That is it. Himanshu Goyal wants to speak something. Abhimanyu, please give him chance later. Thank you so much.
Yes, surely, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, I know Mr. Chaya Devi, ma'am. What's your views, final views on this?
Yeah.
Abhimanyu, how many participants are there?
Sir, near around it's now
10 to 12.
10 to 12. 12. Yeah.
10 to 12. We were expecting about 30.
Earlier they were 50. Now as it is going to be lunchtime.
It's 11, ma'am. 11 participants are here.
Okay.
11.
You would give a chance to them to speak?
If anybody
of course,
wishes.
Please,
Yes, ma'am.
please, that is what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Give them a chance to speak.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Surely, sir.
Yes. Are you just going on now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay. It is something like family is the only way we exist, right? It is understood universally. Being individual as a social person, we need company, a companionship, or maybe to be compassionate or loving or sharing. So it cannot be done by a single person, right? We need some other living creature around us. It can be a pet, it can be a human being, and it can be anything like imagining the god or goddesses or whatever it is, to console yourself and make a healthy living forever. So what I feel is, family is what we have always shown to the kids and to the society all the time, right? So there is no other way to become a family. You need to get married. So in that way, marriage is so important. So from the beginning,
I want to ask one thing.
yeah, yes.
Is marriage mandatory for everyone? If
That is a question. That is a question I am trying to question and then answer it. Is it necessary? So this question should be raised in each and every one of us. Previously, the marriage was one reason, the union of families. And later on, gradually it evolved union between the individuals, two individuals. Now it is something, an individual, whether complete the mind, soul and body are united or not. Each individual, not as a different two persons. An individual, whether the body and mind and soul are they going together? If all these three are going together in single person, there will be no complication, no complexities at all with anybody in this universe.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
individually, you need to understand what all the things you need, at what time, with whom. Do we need this or not? So coming to the question, marriage. So when a kid comes to his teenage or comes to a marriage age, when the kid is interested, children are interested, that is good. If they are not, you have to make it very clear. This is what the life is. Are you interested? Are you prepared? Are you ready to get married? It's an open question in all the families with all the beings.
Okay.
So
okay. Thank you.
then the
Yes, madam.
person should be able to answer it. So he or she takes the responsibility of getting married, and the problems will be 50% reduced automatically when you take the responsibility.
That's why I discussed this thing. Ask your kids, are they prepared emotionally,
Yes.
physically?
Yes.
mentally?
And they should know why they need marriage. Why
If
they
they don't
need
need,
it.
there should not be any compulsion.
Everybody answers, we want to produce kids. And everybody says kids are the problem in their life. How can it be a contradictory solution for it? Everybody says. Happily, I asked my husband, why did you marry 35, 40 years ago? He said, the reason was like, I'll get married and get kids. Finally, within the end of 15, 20 years, no kids are with us. We two are remaining. It's so boring. How long we should live together? This is a question now. So I'm trying to tell that the preparedness, it is like you have a disaster management is important for us. Marriage shouldn't be a disaster at all. Be friendly and don't expect more and more all the time. Expectations keep increasing from the daughter-in-law, from the son-in-law, mother, and even the grandchildren. Is that the way? No. So be individualistic, healthy mind, that solves all the problems.
Okay. Yeah, sure. Thank you,
Good.
ma'am. Thank you
Good.
so much.
Yeah, that's what
And
I
now
feel. Thank you.
Raminder ma'am, but you conclude. Raminder ma'am,
हाँ बेटा बोल.
Hanji, what is your conclusion?
was-
Final conclusion.
Final conclusion that do homework. Forget it. As a principal, first I would suggest that prepare first yourself for next day. As we say to kids, do your homework and then start it. First, ask yourself what you want from life. As ma'am was telling this thing, that a person wants to get married, her husband wants to get married because he wants to have kids. But what happens? You get married, then one child goes away, second child goes away, then you're again without kids. Don't get married because the sake of kids.
Yes.
Don't get married because of your life partner. Don't get married for anything else. Get married if you are mentally
Yes.
prepared. If
Exactly.
you can be settled in your life, then if you're not prepared, then don't get married, because you're going to ruin your life and you're going to ruin other person's life. Because state of mind is necessary for it.
Yes,
And
exactly.
if your state of mind is not ready for it, then you are going to fail. For example, when we go for exam, when we are 100% prepared, then we appear in the exam. And when we are not 100% prepared, then we are going to have failures in exam. Same with the marriage and life also. And marriage is that institution, if you think that you are indecisive of your things, don't enter. Don't spoil your life. And your responsibility is that don't spoil someone else's life also. So be a spokesperson of your own choices. Talk to your parents, convey them that you're not ready. It is not mandatory to get married at 25, 30, 40. You can start when you are mentally prepared. My conclusion is that get married when you want. Don't get married when society wants.
One single
Very
point
good.
here,
Thank
and
you.
even with the kids, are they ready to get the kids? Is
Yes.
the woman ready to get pregnant? Not for the sake of you have a uterus and you have to bear a child. No, not at all. You must be prepared to be a mother and a father.
It's
Share
her
the
decision only.
responsibility.
It's her
Yes.
decision only. Nobody else.
And even the husband includes in it, because both together they have to get a kid for them. So
Exactly.
both must be prepared. So both will take the responsibility of the kid without any further contradictions or many controversies or anything like that. So they'll produce a very healthy kid with an open-mindedness to rear the
Both
kid
should be the
healthy.
decision maker. Both should be the decision maker, actually.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Prerna
Thank
ma'am,
you.
What,
Yeah.
what is your conclusion?
Okay, so thanks for giving me the chance to speak again. My conclusion, see, the topic was why our marriage is failing, right? So we spoke a lot. We got a lot of inputs and insights on why marriages are failing. Lots of issues. Now, I would like to conclude. I am more or less on the same page as, Bhavneet ma'am, Jagjit sir, Chaya ma'am, Raminder ma'am, everyone. We are in fact pretty much on the same page. So, see, marriage is a very sacred institution, at least in our country still. It may not be the same outside, but yes, in our country, it is still a very, very sacred institution. Whether you, get into an arranged setup or you get into a love marriage, whatever it is, a couple of years later, it is all the same. And, it is very, very sacred. And as, Sir Jagjit sir said that, it's not only in India, it's not only marriage of two individuals, but, two families also come together, right? So there are a lot of expectations and a lot of, pressure on both the partners. So I would say that, if you see a marriage failing owing to multiple factors, first thing is you definitely have to speak up. You definitely have to communicate. You definitely have to talk to each other and figure out what is going right and what is really not going so right.
Okay.
What are the fallouts, where you need to bridge the gaps, what are the gaps, how you can bridge the gaps. So what I'm trying to say is you definitely have to give it a chance. You definitely have to give it a try to save the marriage. Marriage doesn't happen again and again and again, right? I mean, yes, we see some, are very as I was earlier also mentioning, that the current generation doesn't seem to be taking it all very seriously, or say the, countries outside, abroad, they go on with multiple girlfriends and boyfriends and live in relationships and marriages and all that. Now, our country is different, and that's why we are different. We are still holding on to a lot of traditions
Exactly.
and values, which have their own so they have their own uniqueness, they have their own respect, and they have their own gravity and worldwide. So I would say that give it a try, give it a chance, try to fix the gaps, try to check the loopholes, do the best that you can to save your marriage. But yes, if both of you have arrived at a point where you see that it's just not working, then it's time you call it quits. Because I again think that we all are on the same page with this. Rather not, waste each other's life. Let us not waste each other's life, my own life and the other partner's life, as well as children's life. Tomorrow, when those children grow up, they will really not be proud of the fact that, my parents stayed together because of us and not because they loved each other and respected each other, right? So even they will not be proud. Today, you think that, my children, I'm staying back with, my husband, or I'm staying back with my wife for the sake of my children's upbringing. But tomorrow, those children will really not be brought up, in the right manner, if you think so. They will be the ones who will again have troubled marriages. They will be
Exactly.
the one who will again have, difficult interpersonal relationships. They will not be, brought up in a healthy environment with a healthy mindset. So give it a chance. But if it comes to a stage when it is just not working, then it's time you call it quits. Try to not be bitter. Try to make it amicable, but separate your ways is what I would say.
Prerna, can I add one thing? Prerna, can I add one thing? You have rightly said,
please, sir.
But this decision must be taken before bringing up, before producing the children. When you produce the children, then it is very, very difficult situation. You must decide before you have the children, because children suffer very much.
So,
right or wrong.
So I completely agree. I completely agree to that point. But sir, I have another point to make. In addition to this, children in some marriages come late and in some marriages come early as well, right? So before you have got to know your partner, before actually the problems have started cropping in, children would have come. Now, what do you do in that case, right? So better, late than never, or, however you put it, is what I feel, Even with children, I completely agree to the point that children do suffer. But, we have to bring up this generation kids also in a very strong way. They have to be mentally, physically, and emotionally strong, They cannot continue to think forever that, my parents will do all the sacrifices in the world for my sake. They have to consider their parents as individuals, as an individual being, a human being, and they also have to respect the fact that my parents had their own choices. I also see, we get to see so many stories, we hear, we read. There are progressive families, there are progressive children wherein they have got their divorcee mother or say father married at a later age, when they have seen that their father is falling in for someone and that lady is bringing in a tinge of happiness to this, father's life, or say, vice versa. So there are children who are going that extra mile to, make their parents happy, even at a later point. So I'm saying that let us build that culture. We are moving towards a progressive economy, a progressive society, country. So let us start building that culture even in the smallest of the fibers, that those things get ingrained in their minds and hearts, that this is how it is. Let our parents not sacrifice everything for the sake of us. Let them be happy. So we talk about Bollywood, we criticize them for multiple marriages and not keeping up to their partners and not keeping up the promises, etc., etc. Talk about Bollywood, we criticize them for multiple marriages and not keeping up to their partners and not keeping up the promises, etc., etc. But if you see, there is so much to learn. There are so many good things to take away from there. Hindu-Muslim marriages they don't care which god they are, worshipping. Then they have, they have their old dad, getting married to a young lady, or they have their old mom getting married to, another a third marriage or a fourth marriage and things like that. And they are pretty much okay with it. So we, in our own, country, we see these examples. So why can't we, take some good things from there and, try to build that culture is what I'm saying.
Yes,
so
yes,
two
yes,
things,
yes.
two things that, yes, try to save your marriage. But if it doesn't work, honestly and sincerely, if you are feeling it inside you and the other one as well, then let's call it quits in a healthy manner is what I would say. Carry on with your lives and make your lives happier,
Okay,
The world is waiting out there for everyone. So it's not like, we do get a second chance. We do get a second chance.
Okay, thank you. There is our
Thank you,
another,
Abhimanyu.
Himanshu is there. He want to say something. So Himanshu, what are your views?
Well, thank you, sir, for allowing me to say something. Actually, I want to say that just the society has the norms that if they wanted to get their child married, mothers want that they need help in kitchen, and they don't allow wives and other girl childs to step out of the family after marriage. In a recent example, even I saw an Instagram post where the husband killed his wife 25 times, 25 stabs in her stomach because just she stepped out of her home, although belonging to a Muslim family. So this is the thing that there are certain societal norms that girls will only be into the kitchens and boys for the outdoor works. So this is a basic understanding that understandings are the basic the thing in the marriage. And the second thing is concluding the part is that more than 5 to 10% of the people in India are engaged to same-sex relationships. They are not willing to marry a girl. A boy is not willing to marry a girl, and either a girl is willing to marry a boy. But they have to do it because society wants, their parents wants, and their friends want. So in that case, the marriage will not automatically work. Even we have the best understandings, we have the best communication itself. But if the person is not itself, attracted, satisfied with the other person itself, so that won't work. So I think this is the major topic also that we need to discuss about it, same-sex relationship and other criteria as well. And yeah, that's all I want to say. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much for this. I think we have then gotten take a lot of time for this, the conclusion. Okay, so from the panelists, I conclude that the marriages are falling, failing, we are seeking. But I totally agree with the other things that we have to be calm, the vocal communications, we have to talk with each other so that we can resolve the problem. But if they totally crippled, then we have to be out. But the main thing is the society has to be changed. Because if that divorced guy or a girl is there, they are obviously they are putting a pressure. Why? Here the questionings of always. एक हिंदी का वर्ड है तलवार लटकी रहती है हमेशा. एक हमेशा कहीं वो बाहर जाएगा तो उसके लिए हमेशा ही रहता है, चाहे वो गर्ल है जब वो है, क्या हुआ था, कैसे हुआ था, वो क्वेश्चनिंग चलती रहती है. So we have to be changed. So for this, firstly we have to be communicate with each other so that we can resolve the issues. But yes, अगर वो नहीं होते, then it can be off. So this is from all my side, and I'm really thankful to all the panelists, Jagjeet sir, Bhavneet ma'am, Shadevi ma'am, Prerna ma'am, Raminder ma'am, Sudhir sir, Himanshu, we have concluded with us. Thank you so much for this topic, and I really again thankful to Bhavneet ma'am, Sudhir sir for giving me this an opportunity to host this show today, this talk. And thank you so much for everyone to come here and join us. Thanks a lot.
Yes. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Abhimanyu. Thank
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. It was
Thank you.
very useful discussion, very constructive discussion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Prerna, you have done a good job.
Thank you, Abhimanyu. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Abhimanyu, everybody has done a good job. Prerna,
Thank you.
thank you very
sir.
much.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you.
sir. Thank you. Everyone, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Have
Thank
a
you.
happy Sunday, everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Happy weekend to you all. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Kaya Devi, your presence
Yes,
has
sir.
made a difference.
Thank you very much, sir, with your blessings.